You may be wondering, how are we going to create the admin user account? Well, we're not going to be modifying the post users endpoint or making another endpoint for this. We're actually just going to be using a script to create one. So if you look in the scripts folder here, you'll see that there's two files, seed and run seed. So let's take a look at this seed file first. Now this file is a module file and it exports a function called users down here. So this function is very similar to the populate users function that we used in our test database seed. Firstly, it deletes all the current users in the database and then it adds two new users. So you'll notice the first new user that it adds, it has role admin, and the second one is just a regular user. Looking at the other file now, run seed, this one is an executable and it will actually import that seed module and connect it to MongoDB, and then down here in this immediately invoked function, it's going to call that user's method on the seed module and it will give you back a success message if it worked or not. Finally, you'll see in package.json, I've actually added a seed script here. And so this is obviously just going to execute that seed script file. So let's open the terminal up here and run that and see what happens. So go npm run seed. So there you go, you'll see that it's successfully seeded the accounts. Coming over to Compass now, we can inspect our development database and we see in our users collection the two new users that we've created, including this admin one up here. Now these two users, they're going to be useful later in the course when we're building and testing the PrintBay client. Remember in the last video that I said that only the admin user can create or edit items. Regular users are only going to have permission to view them. Well, currently, our post items endpoint can be accessed by any user, even logged out users. So in this video, we're going to make it so only logged in admin users can access that endpoint. Let's begin by creating another middleware function that will protect any route it's applied to from being accessed by non-admin users. So we'll go ahead and create that file by going touch server middleware, and we'll call this one admin. So let's open that up now. And we'll begin at the top by going module exports and assigning a function with three arguments, rec, res, and next, like we did in our other middleware. And inside this function, we're going to begin by checking if the user is an admin user. Now remember that once a user is authenticated, the user model gets assigned to the request object. So that means we can create an if statement and we can just check if rec.user is truthy, and also we want to check if rec.user.role is equal to admin. If it is, the user has permission to access the route, so we just call next. And we'll create an else block as well. And in this one, if the user is not an admin, we're going to return res, and we're going to set a status of 403. So 403 is forbidden, and this is intentionally different to 401 unauthorized because technically the user has valid credentials, they just don't have access to the particular route. So in the status, we're going to chain a send, and let's provide an error message. We'll go only admin users can take this action. And put a semicolon there. Now that we have our admin middleware, let's protect our post items route. So let's first require both the admin and authentication middleware at the top. So we're going to go const authenticate. Authenticate. This require middleware auth, and then we'll go const admin equals require middleware admin. Okay, so now we can protect our item creation by chaining an all method before the post here. So we can go all, and what we can actually do is we want to first pass in the authenticate middleware, and then we can pass in the admin middleware. So this means when a post user's request loop begins, it'll first run the authenticate middleware and check if the user is authenticated. Then it will run the admin middleware and check that they're an admin user before it goes on to the actual controller method. Coming over here to Postman now, let's test these changes. So firstly, let's try the post items request, which is used to create an item. And you'll see that this one now gives us a 401 unauthorized status. So firstly, we need to now use the token in the header of this request, since this particular endpoint is now protected by the authenticate middleware. So that's easy enough to do. We'll just go over to headers, and we'll add a header authorization. And of course, we'll add bearer token to that as well. So I'll turn that one on. Let's try and run this again. And this time we get a 403 status saying that we need to be an admin user. So to fix this, let's first save this request. And now we'll go over to post users login, the one that we created before. And you'll see that the last time that we logged in, if we go to the body here, we just logged in with a regular user. So let's instead log in with the seeded admin user that we created by modifying the body now to be admin@test.com, and password is correct for that. So now we'll click send on this one, and you can see that this one's successfully logged in. But what it's done is it's set the token environment variable to now be the admin user's token. So if we return to post items now, and we send this request again, you'll see that it's now working because we're now logged in as an admin user.